hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
And we got a car restart zone to go. Green flag is out. Underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
From the heart of Japan, a legendary circuit calls. Welcome to the Goat Locker Racing League. We're ready for the second race of an exhilarating Season 3. We're at the iconic Suzuka International Racing Course, famous for its high-speed S's and the challenging 130R. The atmosphere is electric as powerful GTP prototypes prepare to weave through traffic, asserting their dominance. They'll be sharing the asphalt with the highly competitive GT3 machines, setting the stage for a classic IMSA-style multi-class battle. It's speed therapy for a great cause as these drivers compete in a league that supports veterans and first responders across the nation. The green flag is about to wave. Stay with us for all the wheel-to-wheel action right here at Suzuka. Welcome to Goat Locker Racing MK Fire to Sports Car Series presented by Zach Graphics right here on V-Speed, your #1 source of online coverage. I'm Ken Huber. Alongside me, I've got Jacob Lenke, and the fantastic Bobby Bender is down there producing tonight with Dougie Beard providing the cameras. So welcome back, Jacob, for race number 2.
Yes, I am excited to be back. We're finishing out our Japan leg here. We were at Fuji last week, put on a classic battle in both the GTP and GT3 course classes, and I'm excited to see how we're going to close this one out today.
Well, let's talk about the track we're at tonight. Revered as the ultimate driver circuit, Suzuka International Racing Course is the world's only FIA Grade 1 track featuring a distinctive figure-8 layout. Spanning 3.6 miles through Japan's Mie Prefecture, the course crosses over itself via a massive overpass, meaning that drivers race both clockwise and counterclockwise in a single lap. This 18-turn masterpiece forces a relentless rhythm of high-speed technicality from the snaking high Gs of the S's to the legendary 130R, a fearsome left-hander. We're about to see what's going to happen with these guys out here on this multi-class race tonight.
Oh, yeah. All the sectors on this course are going to be super challenging. Spoon Curve is one that we're going to be looking at. That's going to be turns 14, 15, or 14, 13, as well as the Casio Triangle leading onto the front stretch. It's going to be electric.
Yeah, and those GTPs are going to have to go through the GT3s and that traffic and some of those very technical corners. So this is a track I really enjoy. It takes a lot to master this track, and once you get the hang of it, is probably the most challenging track in Japan.
Yep, made famous for hosting the Formula One Japanese Grand Prix for as many years as it's been around for the most part. Fuji hosted a couple of them, but those have been what made this place world famous.
Well, last week we had an exciting race at another Japanese track there at Fuji, and Terry Crouch came home first in the GTP, so he's looking to maybe get a second win here tonight. So far, he's been pretty fast out there during practice and qualifying. We'll have to wait and see. But then Joshua Jackson squeaks out a win in the GT3 cars with some pretty swifty fuel management and strategy out there at the end.
Yes, if the key word for Terry Crouch was domination, the key word for Joshua Jackson was surprise. A dominant battle between Cody McElwain and Austin Cobb through a vast majority of the race, and both of them pitting for fuel on the last laps made way for Joshua Jackson to snap in and steal it.
And I guarantee a lot of drivers out there took note of that last week. So this week, we're looking at a very similar situation with this track. Very fast, but you spend a lot of time on throttle here. So we might be looking at another two-stop race, at least for the GTPs. And maybe Joshua's looking at a little bit of fuel strategy again here tonight. And those other drivers are going to have to keep that in the back of their mind.
Yeah, for the GT3s especially, you need to maximize your corner exits because there's so many of them. 18 corners, you got 2 long straightaways with the front stretch and the exit of Spoon Curve leading to 130R. That's going to be taken flat. 1 hour race length, pit road speed is going to be 80 kilometers or 50 miles an hour, unlimited tires, 1 fast repair, 50% fuel, and the iRacing fixed setup for tonight.
Yeah, so the fixed setup, that's an interesting thing. This season, when they started running open setups, actually, so I believe everybody's on an open setup. So they're able to bring their own setups to these races, and we'll get that fixed for you next week, folks. But yeah, so these drivers are out there with their own tuned setups, and we'll see how they do out there with that. So they wanted to be able to drive a little more comfortable. But I think we're about to wrap up qualifying, and that's going to lead us to our Jam Printing and Promotion Pull Award. And since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 nonprofit with primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker since the very beginning and is locally veteran certified. And when they do well, they do good in the community. And there you have it. There is our Pull Award winner there. Same like last week. It looks like Terry Crouch claims that Pull Award there on his inside. He's going to have Brian Provo. Brendan McDonald will start in third on the inside. Logan Threlkeld on the outside in fourth. Tyler Justice starts in fifth. And Bill Mulfield will start in sixth. And then rounding out your last car in the GTP field will be Jamie Lipke.
For your GT3s, no surprises here. The top 2 from last week are the top 2 this week. Cody McElwain rolling off P1, Austin Cobb in P2. New driver, Derek Tierums rolls off P3, Trevor McManus in P4. Jeremy Gardner takes that 57 machine P5. Jacob Ellingson with a whole bunch of horses on that car in 6th. Joshua Jackson, our last week's winner, rolls off 7th with the 789 of Timothy Parker in 8th. Samuel Egg in 9th, and Samuel Yosef rounds out your top 10. Wesley Burke in 11th, Warren Clayton rolling off P12. Corinne Smith and Zachary Minnis take up that following row. Eddie Smith and Timothy Wilms in the 15th and 16th spot. Eddie Smith, a transplant from the GTP field. Skylar Daly in 17th, Isaac Ortiz in 18th. Chance Taylor and John Houchin rounding out row 10. Tyler White and DJ Patterson go through 21 and 22. Alexander Sexauer in the triple three, 23rd. Ashton Acero Nolan in 24th. And Bobby Germain is your lone Audi in the field, rolling off P25 in your 25 car GT3 field.
Yeah, what a nice field we have here again tonight for you folks, and it's going to be some pretty exciting racing. They're out there getting their tires warmed up right now, headed towards that famous 130R. So you can see these cars going uphill. This is a corner that's going to be interesting here, whether they can take it flat out or not. But you'll see this left-hander that's coming up. A lot of these cars will be able to take this flat out. Maybe it depends on the amount of downforce they have and how they have their setups tuned. We're about to see, but this is a quick little left-hander. You see it right there. And a lot of cars have drifted off the track and into the sand and trying to hold on to them there.
Yeah, but you can only imagine how stressful it's going to be if they're battling side by side going through there, through 130R, down that back straight, into the Casio triangle, and then onto our front stretch, which will get us going.
Well, we're about to find out because they're going through the final Casio triangle right now, the last little chicane. Before headed to the front stretch, you see the pace car ducking onto pit lane, and we're about to light this place on fire. Terry Crouch is going to lead him to the green flag. Brian Provo there on his outside in that white machine, and we're waiting for that flag to drop right now. Any moment, the flag man should. There we are, green flag. Terry Crouch gets a nice jump on that. He's going to be able to pull out in front of Brian Provo, though gives him some room there. Brian Provo will try to tuck in. No, we got a battle. Brendan McDonald is trying to take the inside away from Brian Provo.
Meanwhile, your GT3s took the green right before the Casio Triangle. Cody McElwain jumping out to a lead over Austin Cobb. Derek Tieram second and third. Everybody starting to string out as we get down toward turn 1.
Yeah, everybody getting nice single file there. Very respectful driving back there in that GT3 field. And, you know, these guys really have to wait for these tires to warm up. And this track is very tricky, especially on cold tires. We're watching these GT3s go up through the S's right now. It's a very rhythm section of the track. But they're doing a great job getting through it so far.
Yep, this rhythm instills a little bit of confidence, but you don't want to take it too far. You think you can take some of these flat, but it's just going to put you at a disadvantage going through the next one.
Everybody making it through nice and clean. Back up with the GTP field. They just went through the hairpin there. You can see Terry Crouch starting to open up a little bit of a gap there, almost a half second. And then back there, Brian Provo and Brendan McDonald, they got that battle sorted out. So Brendan McDonald actually was able to get that position away from Brian Provo. So you can see it there in that blue and orange machine of Brendan McDonald and Brian Provo falling right behind. But let's not forget about Logan Threlkeld. He was also strong last week. Second place finish there at Fuji.
Yes, indeed. Everybody's stringing out, getting up towards the back straightaway, all the way through 130R. That heavy left-hander having to slow down in quick regard to the Casio Triangle to get through turns 16 through 18.
Yeah, now they're starting to get a little bit of heat in those tires as we move back to the GT3 field, looking at that battle with Austin Cobb and Cody McElwain. Cody McElwain in that black Mustang just ahead of that blue Corvette, the two American cars. But let's not forget about we got Derek Tierham's back there. Wasn't with us last week, but Derek Tierham's is currently running a McLaren.
And if it's any indication, we're going to be seeing a lot of these two, possibly these three, for a majority of the race. Meanwhile, it looks like there's been an incident with the 27 of Jacob Ellingson. He's lost 17 spots as of the first few minutes.
Yeah, Jacob Ellingson dropping back, and we seen it last week. I think it might be a cold tire issue here. Oh, there's another crash on the track. Looking at Ellingson right now, but seeing who that was, I think that was Austin Asaro Nolan and DJ Patterson involved in the incident.
Yep, our lone Aston Martin and DJ Patterson's got a black flag. Ashton Asaro Nolan looks like he's got the front end torn up on that car. Heavy contact with the wall for Asaro Nolan. Bounces back into the Aston Martin, and I think he's going to have to pull this one down for his fast repair.
And you see Ellingson go right by there in that Mustang. So Ellingson getting two free positions there from his incident. So trying to make his way back up.
Yep, get it straightened out. Take the incident out of your mind early on, and just try and get back to the race. There's plenty of time left as we're just over 55 minutes remaining.
Back on the leader of the GT3 field, looking at Cody McElwain, still under pressure from Austin Cobb. Derek Tieram sitting back there just a little bit back in that McLaren, but these three are starting to step away from the other cars behind them. We'll have to see. I'm just taking a look what that distance is. It's almost 2 seconds over Trevor McManus.
Yes. Both of those cars staying up front like that is going to be a constant throughout this race. Terry Crouch has his headlights on going down into turn 1 off of the front stretch. He's got a 2-second gap to Brendan McDonald behind.
Yeah, and you're watching that battle between Brendan McDonald and Brian Provo. Those two guys have been nose to tail as Terry Crouch is starting to check out. So the battle for second is still heated up after Brendan McDonald was able to pass Brian Provo at the start of this race.
But
this could be an interesting battle as this race progresses tonight.
Yep, Brian Provo had a hellacious battle with Tyler Justice toward the middle section of the race last week at Fuji. Both of those drivers not wanting to give an inch. Eventually, Provo settled into a position further ahead.
Yeah, you can see we're looking at Brian Provo right now. He's currently driving a Porsche, and he's trying to chase down that blue and orange Cadillac just ahead of him. Or I'm sorry, Brendan McDonald's in the Porsche. He's in that blue and orange machine. I can't even tell these manufacturers on these cars. And then Brian Provo's in the Cadillac. So, you were telling me, Jacob, that those Cadillacs are pretty strong. So I haven't driven the Cadillac this season, so I don't know, but it certainly looks strong tonight.
Yeah, with the Cadillac being strong, the Porsche definitely is the favorite, so I will forgive you being a little confused on that one, as half of our GTP field is made up of the Porsche 963.
Yeah, those prototypes are hard to distinguish from each other. You have to be a prototype expert, I guess, which I am not. But it's going to be interesting, the strategy that plays out here tonight as they go through 130R, headed down to Casio Corner here, or Casio Triangle, I think it's called, the last chicane before they come to the front stretch. It's another tricky section of the track. There's so many places on this track to make mistakes that these drivers are just, you know, they're only here for 1 hour, but that 1 hour is full of pandemonium.
Yep, and it's going to be ticking by fast to a lot of these guys that are burning rubber all across this track right now, watching these cars come up to the hairpin as the GT3. This is, I apologize, this is Spoon. I'm all turned around.
Yeah, it's a Spoon, so it is what it is. So we're watching Wesley Burke. Wesley Burke, I don't know if they were here last week. I'm trying to remember whether, was Wesley here last week?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't remember, but currently running 17th. And in the BMW, so that black and white BMW, one of the few BMWs out here tonight. Well, she's trying to chase down the BMW of Sammy Yosef just in front. And then you got the Porsche of Zachary Minnis just behind.
Yep, that bright purple Porsche trying to chase down the BMW just ahead. Got another one up in front. Samuel Yosef and Samuel Egg, two names that we saw next to each other further back up there. As both of them had a nice battle as we were getting toward the end of that one with Corinne Smith for the 3, 4th, and 5th spot.
Yeah, looking at Samuel Agee right now. Samuel Agee currently driving that Mercedes, so he's been really fond of that thing. It's a beautiful TWR machine he's got out there, kind of a metallic purple and yellow. Trying to chase down Timothy Parker in the 789, currently running in the 14th position just ahead of him.
Yep, everybody's starting to string out, get their own gaps together. Everybody's fighting this track at their own pace and trying to get to the end of this one from the get-go.
Well, why we do have a little bit of gap in the action, why don't we talk about one of our sponsors, Cruisin' Classics. Located in Columbus, Ohio, Cruisin' Classics has a beautiful 56,000 square foot showroom filled with hundreds of unique automobiles. There's something for everybody out there in their hand-picked selection of muscle cars and hot rods. Come on down to visit the facility today and check out their website at cruisingclassicsinc.com. cruisingclassicsinc.com. And, you know, everybody's got to have that car to go to their local coffee shop or donut shop on a Sunday or Saturday morning and show off that hot rod. So Cruising Classics will definitely fit you in one of those.
Yep, gotta have something that you're proud of. Gotta have something that maybe you want to do a little bit of work to. Put some, like, you know, improved parts. Like they do a lot of really good restorations. Maybe somebody wants to grab one of those cars and make it their own.
So we're watching some action on the track as we're going up towards 130R. A pass was just made. Trying to figure out which driver I was looking at there. Oh.
That's Rexy. That's Eddie Smith.
Oh, there you go. Eddie Smith making that pass. So.
Yep, the skeleton Rexy Porsche making a pass on Warren Clayton. Now Warren Clayton under fire from Corinne Smith further behind. This is the battle for 12th, 13th, and 14th under a blanket.
A great battle. We're looking at Timothy Wilms just there, but Eddie Smith leading this. He's starting to pull away just a little bit. So Eddie, like you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, was in the GTP last week, and he was a little bit overwhelmed. He was used to these GT3s and was having a lot of fun, but he test drove a GTP and says, you know what, that's what I'm going to run for the first race of the season, thinking he was going to be in it all season. But he realized right away after doing a full race in one of those cars, it's quite difficult.
Yep, a lot of these guys learned very quickly on that the mistakes that you can make in the GT3 that can be forgiven, it's a lot harder on you when you're in a GTP. You got a lot more downforce and some significant power, but it is a lot more responsive, so any little movement you put in the wheel is going to push you even further than it would in one of these GT3s.
Yep. They're going through another tricky part of the track here, so this is one section of the track where the rear end gets very light. You got to be very easy on there as we're watching our leaders there, Cody McAway and Justin Cobb and Derek Tierhams. This is the 3-car battle that we were talking. I was talking to Jake up here in the booth at pre-race that I think that's what we might be seeing here tonight with Derek showing up, that this might be a 3-car breakaway with these GT3s.
What we saw last week, but just as we learned, You can never count anyone else out on strategy. These three are going to be battling as hard as they can with each other to try and make it to the end on top. But if somebody decides that they want to come in a little bit sooner and get that undercut, it might throw all of their plans out the window.
Yeah, and you can't forget about Joshua Jackson's fuel strategy last week. Oh, there's a car off the track. I believe that was a lap car. Went off the track just in front of our leaders there. I want to say that was Bobby Germain, perhaps, or Isaac Ortiz. But anyway, we're going to go back and take a look.
Yep, that looks like the Audi of Bobby Germain just then. He's been having a lot of issues throughout last week and this week. Normally a really solid competitor. I just not sure. Yep, just loses it off the curbs into turn one, smacks that barrier, and I think he may be done for the day.
Well, back to our second place battle in the GTPs. They are up on the traffic right now. I am currently looking at Brandon McDonald trying to navigate his way through some of the lap cars right now. He's got John Huchin just in front of him there. He gets by, and then now Skylar Daly they're going to be looking at up next. But both these GTP drivers, Brandon McDonald and Brian Provo, trying to navigate through the S's, getting by these lap cars. And unfortunately for Brian Provo, he's getting the worst of it because he got behind all these GT3s in S's where Brandon McDonald was able to clear that ahead of time.
And once you get into these technical downforce sections, you're going to have the GT3s all over the place trying to find that grip. You've got a lot more grip, but you also have to exercise a lot of patience to get back around them, which Provo has shown he has.
Yeah, and now Brandon McDonald finds himself back in traffic right now. He just got around Skylar Daly, now looking at Jacob Ellingson. So if you look at, there's a car sideways in the track there. I think that, I'm not sure who that was, but, we got a GTP off in the grass. Brandon McDonald trying to get around Jacob Ellingson in my little Mustang there. And Jacob Ellingson starting to be a little bit of a hazard out there, maybe Brandon McDonald did not pick the correct spot to get by him there.
You got a bob and weave. We're going to take a look at this one. We see Brandon McDonald up behind the Porsche. Jacob Ellingson's in that Mustang up ahead as they're going into the hairpin. Yep, McDonald looks like he just overcooks his entry a little bit, his exit. Whoa, there was a GT3 in the middle of the track there. I'm not sure who that was. I think that might have been Warren Clayton.
Yeah, well, here's the grass incident right here. So I had to pass him in the grass there, so it gets by Jake. So it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. He just wanted to get by. He has a bunch of time right now over Brian Provo and just didn't want to give it up, and I think that's why he was so aggressive going through the grass like that.
Position GT3 or not, that's still track limits, so you got to make sure you don't rack up a lot of those on their way. Meanwhile, Tyler Justice is locked to the back bumper of Logan Threlkeld as they make their way up through the S's right here. Threlkeld gets around Ellingson. Justice is going to have to make his way around as they get through the middle sector.
Yeah, great battle here between these two guys there. So Logan Threlkeld now battling another battle with the GTPs here. So nice seeing Tyler Justice up there giving Logan Threlkeld a little bit of heat. We've seen this last week, I believe, with these two guys. Logan Threlkeld, I believe, got the best of it, but it's still a great battle here. So we've got a couple of really good wars going on, so to speak, between second and third, and now third and fourth and fifth.
Yep, in order to be in one of those GTP cars, you have to have shown that you know how to wheel a machine. Tyler Justice finished second in the GT3 series we ran last year, which was won by Jeremy Gardner, who has pushed himself to a modest 5th place in the GT3 set.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner climbing back up the rankings now. Is currently in the position where he started, so... But Jeremy now dealing with the open setups. He was pretty dominant. Well, he's super consistent last season. Top threes almost every race. So trying to find that first podium finish for this week. But it's only the second race. I'm sure he'll find his mojo here before the end of the season.
Yep, and as the top three stepped out to almost a 10-second gap over Gardner, you got to believe that strategy is going to play into this one as we're taking a look at our top 3 runners in the GT3 series.
Well, we are only 15 minutes into this thing, and it sure has been exciting as we're looking back at our leaders here. We got Cody McElwain still in that black Mustang, leading Austin Cobb and Derek Tierums right now in this 3-car battle for the lead. I think they're just feeling each other out, waiting for that first pit cycle to start and see what each other's made of after that. But it looks like this is what they want to do. I don't see any aggressive, like getting there and putting a lot of pressure on each other, just kind of running in each other's tire tracks there and maybe waiting for that first stop.
Yep, they got to make sure that they pay attention to their competitors, though. Need to see who's trying to make that undercut. If they can overcut each other through here, that would be massive for the ending standings, but it's all going to boil down to who comes down first and who's leading at the end.
Yeah, and while this battle is going on, talking about second and third place battle, so Brendan McDonald has pulled away a little bit from Brian Provo, and I think that was all a result of traffic. I think Brian Provo got the worst of the traffic. Brian Provo is a few seconds behind now. It looks like about almost 5 seconds behind our second place sitter of Brandon McDonald. So, yeah, this is what happens with multi-class racing. You know, sometimes who can navigate the traffic the best. And, you know, it goes vice versa, too, for the GT3s. You know, they've got to pick the spots where they want to let these GTPs by without giving up time on the track, too. So it's they both got to work with each other. And sometimes so Brian Provo just spun that GTP. He's trying to get it back on the track. So Brian Provo spins it. He was running in third. We're going to go back and take a look, I believe. Yeah, watch him go up the hill here. But he does it in Casio Corner here. And that's that last chicane before the front stretch here. Coming up on a GT3. And I believe he just loses the rear end and gets up on the curb here. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So there isn't much suspension travel in these GTP cars. So if you get that car upset in any way, that's exactly what happens.
Yep, stepped it onto the curb. It hopped the rear wheels and turned him around. He's lucky that it didn't send him straight into that wall.
Yeah, so now he's, he's still got an 11-second gap over fourth place of Logan Threlkeld. But looking back at our leader, that's Terry Crouch in the GTP, going by Jeremy Gardner, putting him a lap down, which to be expected here, going into the hairpin. But Terry Crouch now has only a 3-second lead over Brendan McDonald. So hasn't been able to quite to escape second place yet, and traffic could be a factor for our leader.
Yep, bad group of traffic might put this one back into McDonald's grasp. Terry Crouch getting a little bit stuck behind the Mercedes here. I believe that is Trevor McManus going through Spoon as they make their way down the backstretch.
Headed to 130R here, uphill here, this fast left-hander. And Terry Crouch now has got traffic clear. He's got a little bit of a gap here before he reaches the next car, the next GT3 of Derek Tierums. So getting ready to catch our leaders of the GT3 pack, which that could make things really interesting when he does catch these guys.
Yep. Maybe Crouch comes through, gets 2 of them, can't get to the third one, and then he uses them as a pick to just walk away. Cody McElwain does.
Yeah, we'll see what happens because he's going to catch him here in the S's. So, and this is probably the worst place to catch him. You got 3 guys up there that don't want to give up any time on each other. So Terry Crouch is going to have to tiptoe around these guys because these guys are racing for first place in that GT3 field.
Yes, indeed. You can see the gap between McElwain, Cobb, and Tierums under 2 seconds. One gapping one. As we see Terry Crouch make their way past Tierums, getting up to the back of Austin Cobb through the corners here, and getting up towards the hairpin towards the back end of this track.
Yeah, you can see Cobb lost a little bit, but the same thing's going to happen. Or I'm sorry, Tierums lost a little bit. The same thing's going to happen to Cobb. And now he's setting his sights on Cody McElwain. So, and this is another difficult part of the track here. So it looks like Cody McElwain probably got the best deal out of those 3 drivers.
Yes, indeed. Using Terry Crouch to his advantage, getting that gap stretched out to 1.1 seconds over Austin Cobb, and securely in the lead of this one. Oh, there's a GT3 off in the grass there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I think that was no, that wasn't Alexander Sixhauer. Not sure who that was in that white Porsche there.
Oh, we lost a GTP. Tyler Justice is currently towed to the pit lane.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. So he was having a good night there, battling up there for that 4th position with Logan Threlkeld. So tough break there for that driver. So we're looking at Brendan McDonald right now, trying to chase down the leader of the GTP pack. So, and that's Terry Crouch just ahead of him. Got a little bit of a gap, 3 seconds. Hasn't changed too much, 3.3 now. But I'm sure Brendan McDonald would like to see Terry Crouch involved in a little bit more traffic, try to run him down.
Yep, Crouch stepped out a little under 3 seconds ahead of McDonald, getting through the middle sectors of this course. McDonald hoping that he can keep that gap honest if and when pit stops come, so he can make a little bit of a strategy play, possibly catch Terry slipping.
Well, you know what? Something we haven't talked about yet this race, and that's our Warrior Spotlight there, Jacob. I believe you know Devin Smith.
Yes, I do. He's a teammate of mine. Here's to our latest Warrior Spotlight, Devin Smith. Devin served for 7 years in the U.S. Army, both active and reserves. During his time at Fort Carson, Colorado, he served with the 410th Cav as a scout platoon leader and executive officer. He also spent a year embedded with the British Army. Since receiving the second sim rig GLR has donated, Devin has become an integral part of the GLR family. We are proud to have him as a member and thank him for his service.
Absolutely. So, you know, I had a chat with Devin a long time ago when I first joined the league. We were stationed in similar areas there in Washington State. So, you know, speaking of veterans, you know, we're a whole veteran crew right now. We got our producer is active duty Marine. Oh, Brandon McDonald just spins the GTP in Casio curve. So that final chicane gathers it back up, but loses the rear end, very similar to what we've seen happen to Brian Provo here. We're going to go back and take a look as we go through 130R here. And it'll be this next corner. We'll see if he gets the rear end up on the curb there. Oh, no, he just over brakes it. A little too much rear brake in that car and spins it around. But he's back going again. But he gave up almost 4 seconds on our leader over Terry Crouch.
Yep, it is easy to lock it up all the way through any of these corners. If you're not taking it at the right speed, if you're not getting the right angle into it, you can go around at any point. As we're taking another look at one of our other battles on track. This is for the 7th spot, Timothy Parker being chased by Samuel Egg.
So Samuel Eggy trying to run down that car just ahead of him there. And he, like I said, he's in that purple and yellow Mercedes. Doing a great job so far. Currently running in the eighth position in the GT3 field. Trying to chase down that Porsche of Timothy Parker. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Is we know that Goat Locker strongly supports our veterans and first responders. But getting back to our producer, who is an active duty Marine, I also got alongside me, I got Jacob, former Army, and then you got myself, Army. So we got another all-veteran crew here tonight, bringing this multi-class IMSA-style race to you here, right live at Suzuka International Speedway.
Yes, indeed. Veteran crew. But homegrown from GLR, everybody in here volunteered their time to go through and help V-Speed out, get the word out on Goat Locker, help provide you with this excellent racing, just give you a visual of what Goat Locker is about and how good the competition is here.
Well, speaking of how good the competition is here, we're back on the leader of the GT3 field, Cody McElwain, in that black Mustang going through 130R right now, full throttle. And don't look now, but Austin Cobb has started to run him down along with Derek Tierhams. They all got just about a second and a half over each other. So, and we're going to be approaching this critical stage right now. We're almost to the halfway point of the race. If these guys can go another 5 minutes, they might be able to do it on one stop here tonight. We'll have to wait and see, but this is where the nail biting comes out. And I don't want to forget about any of these drivers sitting behind. I'm pretty sure that all the GTPs are going to have to make 2 stops tonight, but these GT3s are the ones that are always going to be iffy on whether they're going to have to do a 1 or 2 stop.
Speaking of stops, Brendan McDonald, your second place running GTP, is in the pit lane. He's out of his box and getting ready to get back on track.
Yeah, he's entering the track right now, just behind Jeremy Gardner. There you see him going through turns 1 and 2 and headed up towards the S's. So he's got 1 of 2 stops done on the night. So the last stop, I don't know, I think he took tires on this one, so it'll be just a gas and go on his last stop as we get towards the end of this.
Yep, we're going to have to wait and see where Terry Crouch decides he wants to pull this one in. Brian Provo Every second counts when it comes to these pit stops, and Crouch having that cushion that he has is going to be the advantage.
Yeah, keeping my eye on Crouch right now. He's going up the hill towards 130R. He has got some lap traffic. Chance Taylor just ahead of him in that white Porsche. I believe that's the car we seen spun out earlier now that he's caught back up there. But headed to Casio Curve here. He's going to have to wait on this GT3 here. This Porsche just ahead of him. I think he might be headed to pit lane. We'll see. And yep, he ducks off into pit lane. So our leader of the GTP field is now making his way to his box and getting his service complete.
Yeah, Bill Mulfield, the last currently running GTP, took their stop earlier. They're currently sitting further back behind Jamie Lipke.
Now, I went back to our leaders of the GT3 field. Cody McElwain right now, I'm watching. He's got a GTP right behind him with Logan Threlkeld. I'm keeping my eye on seeing if these guys are going to make it to the halfway point of this race. And, yeah, he goes by pit lane again. And then it looks like Logan Threlkeld goes on to pit lane to make his stop. So these three cars have stayed out. It's almost 2 minutes, not quite, 1 minute 50 seconds for these. Well, it is pretty much 2 minutes for these GT3s to get around this place. And they'll have to make it 2 more laps, I would say, to be safe to make it to the end of this race.
Yep, Provo and Threlkeld both in right now. McDonald 13 seconds back on Terry Crouch, so he is your big winner in the GTP field.
Yeah, great job by that driver right now. Keeping it there in second. As we're watching, looks like our leader getting by our other leader of the GT3 field, as we're back on Cody McElwain, and then you just seen Terry Crouch go by in that GTP.
Yep, weaving his way through the GT3 traffic there, taking the hairpin through the middle sector of the track. GT3 is going to have to start making some strategy calls as we get toward halfway.
Oh, speaking of strategy, I don't know. Well, you can't really call this strategy, but Austin Cobb, the rear of that Corvette got really loose. That allowed Derek Tierhams to get right on his back bumper there, pushing him really hard, headed down towards here. I believe this is turns 13 and 14, and he's got to be really careful here, but it looks like he's able to open that gap up just a little bit over Derek there, but that was a close call for our second place runner right there of Austin Cobb.
Spoon is not where you want to be, right up on the back of another car, because 13 and 14 are so similar, yet the entry is so different for both of them. You don't want to chance it and have the guy in front of you break a little earlier than you were expecting and get nose full of tail end.
Well, here's the question right now. Are they headed to pit lane? This is what we're going to find out. And this will bring us to the halfway point if they don't. And they're all skipping pit lane. So these guys are going for maybe a one stop. I do see some GT3 cars on pit lane. So
Cody McElwain.
Yeah, there you go. Our leader has made a pit stop, and I'm sure he did not want to see second place go by. So we'll have to keep our eyes on it. We're looking at Austin Cobb right now with Derek Tierhams just behind. So maybe these two guys have saved enough fuel where McElwain hasn't. McElwain might have to make an additional stop before this race is over.
Or he's just played the MasterCard, and Cody McElwain is trying to head off and undercut by another one of his opponents. He's dropping back a few positions, but I feel like he's going to make them up real quick once everybody needs to make their pit stop. And
that very well could be the case. Their fuel mileage might be even better than I thought it was. Cody McElwain is coming out in some traffic. Got ahead of Timothy Parker. I thought he was going to come out behind those two guys, and that would have slowed him down. He definitely, one of the risks you take about pitting early is coming out behind other traffic and then slowing up that momentum that you had. And he was able to get by those two guys and get up through the S's with clean air in front of him.
Yep, up ahead of Timothy Parker, Samuel Egg. That's currently the battle for the 5th position. We're going to see if any of the other cars going to be pulling down pit road here soon as they make their way through the tail end of this track.
Back up front with our second place, Austin Cobb, who just now had our leader Terry Crouch go by, and now Brandon McDonald, you can see there, flashing his lights there. We're looking at Austin Cobb in that blue and black Corvette right there. As some of these GTPs have made their way through, it looks like that is Alexander Sexauer in that green Corvette just ahead of him there. So we'll see if these guys take it to pit lane here? I imagine they will. We'll see. Now he's stuck behind Sexauer, but we'll see him duck off to the right here. Both these drivers, there you go, Austin Cobb and Derek Tierums getting their services done.
Yeah, both of these drivers, solid performance today with the likes of Cody McElwain pulling it in. Want to see where everybody else is coming out before we make a decision on who's probably going to win this one, as we're taking a look at last week's winner, Joshua Jackson, maybe playing the strategy call again.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see if he ducks onto pit lane. But I think at this point, yeah, he's ducked off to the right. He's headed to pit lane. So I'm really curious about how this battle is going to work out right now. I'm looking at Austin Cobb right now on pit lane with Derek Tierens, because where these guys come out, it's going to depend on where McElwain comes. McElwain currently is, let's see where he's at on the track. So he's coming down the front stretch. McElwain has beat both those guys. So pretty equal stops between Cobb and Tierums, but McElwain definitely has the jump on that pit cycle.
Yeah, both of those cars exiting within half a second of each other back onto the racetrack. Cody McElwain getting a 2.2 second lead over Austin Cobb.
The one thing we don't know is whether McElwain can make it on fuel. And it all depends, too, on where the GTP field takes the white flag. So sometimes it comes out early and you have the race shortened maybe by a lap, and that'll save Cody McElwain. And sometimes, depending on where the timer is, you might have to run an extra lap and you might not have the fuel for it.
Yeah. I'll be the first to say it. I think Terry Crouch should park it this time. Like, if you're getting towards the tail end, if you got maybe like 30 seconds left, be like, yeah, like slow it down through 130R, take your time through the Casio triangle and just roll it till you find yourself in a position where you're going to take the white flag. Don't make a lap longer than it has to be, because it's just adding another 2 minutes to everybody's race.
Well, yeah, there's always something to be said for doing what you've been doing to keep you up front, though, too. I hate to change strategy. You know, if I've been going fast and it's been working for me and I got a rhythm, I don't like to change it up, because that's where you start making mistakes, as we're watching this battle on the track right now. As they head through the hairpin pin, this is Joshua Jackson here. This is our fuel-saving winner from last week. Got Trevor McManus right behind him there. So this is a battle for fifth in that green and yellow portion. You can see McManus back there in that Mercedes, that black and white Mercedes there, trying to make a pass. But they got another car just ahead of them.
That is the 66 of... That is a lap car. That is John Houchin just ahead, so these two are going to have to navigate him as well.
Headed down here to the... No, that isn't where I thought we were. So I thought we were on a different place of the track here. It looks like he's going to let him by those. 66 lets those two drivers by to go through Casio Curve here, and then back onto the front stretch and let these guys race this thing out. But all pit stops have been made, so the question is, who's going to have to make another pit stop? We know pretty much all the GTPs are going to do it, but we don't know where the GT3s stand.
Yep, everybody's going to shake out somewhere else. As you see in the distance, already Terry Crouch starting to catch these two. As there's a move made to the inside, Joshua Jackson relents the place to Trevor McManus.
Some great racing there. So gets that Mercedes pass done there. Now McManus will hold on to that fifth place position. And as they go through the S's here, this is a kind of a fun section of the track, Jacob, especially really when you get to learn it. It's not that it's super sketchy or anything, but it's just really hard to make really good pace through that corner. Some of these other corners that they're coming up on get really sketchy. Got a second right-hander coming up here under the bridge. This one could be kind of treacherous, especially when you're racing somebody. You can see all the gravel all over the track there. You can see that GTP, our leader, Terry Crouch, coming up on these two guys.
Yep, he's going to catch him just past the hairpin here, getting up towards turn 12, and I'm sure they're not going to give him too much trouble as he is on his way past.
Now, this is a section of the track where you're just hoping that he goes by in a very easy section here where you don't have to deal with too much, and it looks like he gets by the first guy. And this is a section of the track that's probably the most pucker factor going on, at least for me, right here. So the rear end gets really light. The cars want to step out, and but it looks like he gets that pass made as they head up towards 130R.
Yep. getting your nose pointed is crucial through 13 and 14. If you're pointing in the wrong direction, if you're pointing into 14 the way you were pointing in 13, you're going off into the gravel.
Well, I'm going to give a shout out. I told him I would do it, but I'm looking back at Jacob Ellingson. Jacob Ellingson currently running 9th overall in the GT3 field, but he's driving that Mustang there. You can see it there. It's kind of a funky colored, but it's got, instead of being My Little Pony, it's My Little Mustang. So I guess it is My Little Pony. So there you go, Jacob. There's a shout out to your paint scheme there in that Mustang. It's actually kind of cool looking.
Yep, threw a bunch of horses on there, see if you can get a leg up on the competition. I'll see what race control has to say about that.
Yeah, he's off 2 positions from where he started. He had that early incident on the first lap of the race, I believe it was. And he's made up all those positions. Like I said, he's back up to the 9th spot. So he has made up some time. We'll see how many more spots he can make up before the night's over. But he's got 18, or Sammy Yosef just ahead of him has got 18 seconds over him. So he's got quite a distance to make up.
Yep, and a shorter gap that I'm taking a look at right now, Zachary Minnis is trying to chase down Eddie Smith for the 11th spot further back.
Yeah, that's another battle that's starting to shape up. A battle of the Porsches there, that purple Porsche of Zachary Minnis chasing down T-Rex, old Eddie Smith out there. He won this week here at Daytona in the 2003, the Gen 4 cars, so he's coming off a win there. He'd probably like to get one tonight, but I think that's going to be hard-pressed for Eddie tonight. But 2 beautiful-looking Porsches back there as they're running down another car just ahead of him. That's Samuel Agee. Not too far in the distance there, just about 3 seconds ahead of him. Oh, less than that, a second and a half.
Yep, Minnis is solely focused on the back bumper of Eddie right now, trying to get back up to him. Makes a dive to the inside of the hairpin. They touch bumpers. Nothing doing, and Eddie keeps the position.
I thought he was doing the full send there, but able to get that Porsche woed up there. And we'll see what they do here now, coming into this next complex here. And you can see Minnis is really putting some pressure on Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith out wide. You got to be careful here, Eddie. He's going to turn it back in. And you can see Minnis doesn't quite have the exit there. He's off on the artificial grass there. Coming up the hill to 130R. We'll see if he has anything on this exit. Oh, off in the grass a little bit.
Yep, that push out wide gave Eddie the momentum he needed to get the car turned around into 14 through 130R. Back up this little short shoot up to the Castillo Triangle. No move from Meg as we're getting through 16.
Yeah, going through this last section before they head down the front stretch here. Eddie's going to hang on to that position for now. But, and he's got all kinds of pressure right now, so he's having a great race out there. I'm sure these guys are having fun. And, you know, the guy ahead of him is just enjoying it, right, watching these 2 guys race.
Yes, indeed. These 2 making their dive down into turn 1. Zachary Minnis makes a look to the inside, doesn't get it stuck. Eddie's back out ahead in the S's.
Yeah, he's putting the nose in there. That's what you call applying pressure. I think Minnis is actually doing a great job there, putting pressure on Eddie Smith. Just by sticking that nose in there, trying to make him worry, but Eddie Smith is holding strong. He isn't letting it phase him. So they're getting ready to head up towards the underpass here. Another section of the track where the cars get really light in the rear end, but it's not quite as extreme as some of the other corners here. Headed to the underpass. Eddie Smith is hanging on. We'll see if Minnis is so Eddie gives a little bit off track. They got a GTP coming up through the field right now as well. So both these drivers having to deal with traffic and each other.
That's Logan Threlkeld splitting these 2 right now. Gets an exit on through the hairpin. Eddie Smith has a position for now, but further up, Derek Tierums, our 3rd place runner, has caught Austin Cobb. Yeah,
this 2 and 3 car battle that we've seen with the lead. So right now, McElwain is pulled away from these 2 guys a little bit. So this battle is for 2nd right now. But these 2 drivers might be able to make it all the way, where we don't know about McElwain, whether he's going to be able to make it all the way. So this very well could be for the race win here between these 2 guys, as they got the leader of our GTP field coming up behind them. That's Terry Crouch. Terry Crouch has got quite a gap over 2nd place of Brendan McDonald there in the GTP. So another dominant performance by Terry Crouch as they're headed into the hairpin there. So it looks like, yeah, he's had to go under. That's going to cost Tyrrell's a little bit. But now Cobb is going to have to deal with that GTP, but Cobb is going to get the better of it as the GTP is going to go out wide there.
I'm not sure Tyrrell's going to be too happy about that one, but he was able to catch Cobb before, and he can catch him again. Cody McElwain having stepped out to a 7-second lead over P2 in the GT3s, maybe wanting to step it back a little bit, maybe save some fuel towards the end.
Well, maybe, but maybe he has also got a good fuel calculator out there and has figured out where that GTP is going to cross the line and just decides to push it. Or Cody might have been trying to save at the beginning of this race and realizes that he isn't going to make it, and he's trying to stretch out as much gap as he can and get that pit stop made. Maybe he can prevent a lot more damage. We're all here to find out. Watching that second place battle come down the front stretch here. Now it looks like we got Logan Threlkeld in the GTPs back there, in the GTP, trying to navigate his way through some lap traffic. As we're looking at Skylar Daly and Wesley Burke there, a battle for 13th and 14th. This is where the battle's been kind of all night long here with the GT3s. The GTPs have really just separated themselves. There really isn't a great battle on the track between those drivers right at the moment, subject to change, of course. So we're watching these GT3s are going around, watching GTP having a little bit of struggles there with some of those GT3s.
Yeah, that's Bill Mulfeld. Speaking of battles, Logan Threlkeld is making his way up, tearing through the GT3s to try and get up there. That's for the 4th position for the GTP.
Yeah. So as I was saying, there wasn't much of a battle going on between those drivers, but there you can see it right there for the battle for 4th there. Bill Mulfield has it. Logan Threlkeld wants it. So Threlkeld had a really good race last week there at Fuji. Would like to repeat that here at Suzuka and make it a nice Japan finish. But Terry Crouch right now, who's leading this field, is showed him that, well, I know Japan better than anybody.
Tell you why Threlkeld's getting such a strong run through the middle sector here. He's made his final stop.
Yeah, there you go. So Threlkeld, it sounds like, can make it the rest of the way. So the other drivers out there are still going to have to make their final stop of the night.
And as this battle comes up closer, I think Mulfield's going to have to take another stop. Meanwhile, Tyrrell's once again has caught the back of Austin Cobb. It's going to be a matter of time whether or not he shows that he can get around the 42 machine and start making up some ground on McElwain, because he has shown he's able to catch him several times, and he is faster down this front straightaway. Maybe see him move into one?
Yeah, maybe. It looks like he's holding back there. They let the GTP go by. It was a good place for Brendan McDonald in that GTP to go by. Didn't really affect this battle as they head up towards the S's. So we'll see what happens when they get on the backside towards the underpass. I think this is where Derek Tyrrell's looked really strong, got all over the back of that Corvette. And we've seen Austin Cobb make some mistakes there at the underpass. We'll see if he makes that mistake with the Corvette. That Corvette got really sketchy when they headed under the underpass that last lap, or 2 laps ago, I should say. And that allowed Derek Tyrrell to almost make the pass there.
Yep, Tyrrell still trying to get back to the back bumper of Austin Cobb through Degner, through the long turn 9, down toward the hairpin under the bridge, as they're going to come up on lap traffic as well.
And it looks like Cobb makes it through that section of the track nice and smooth. So doing a great job. Well, we got a little bit of a split there. I want to talk about another one of our sponsors, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. The Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs is an agency focused on assisting the Hoosier State veterans, service personnel, and their families in obtaining state and federal benefits. They work with a network of certified county veteran service officers to provide a no-cost assistance with information and paperwork preparation. That is Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. So, and we know that the league, we got Patrick Drabbas from Indiana, or at least lives there. I don't know if he's from Indiana, but they support a lot of things, a lot of causes in Indiana. So this is where Goat Locker is stationed out of. So got to thank Indiana Department of Affairs.
As always, a major component in the Goat Locker machine, as big as they've made it. And taking a look at some more components, Terry Crouch taking his final stop. Derek Tibbs has a black flag.
Oh no, I wonder what caused that. So, yeah, I see it. So Charles, so it looks like a race control seen something there they didn't like with Derek Tierham's. Not sure what happened there, but Derek Tierham's going to have to come in and serve a black flag. That's going to break these drivers up. That is unfortunate there.
Yeah, very. That's gonna give Austin Cobb some breathing room as he tries to catch up to McElwain. I can only imagine what might have happened here.
Yeah, well, that definitely forces the issue for that driver. So seeing Derek Tierham's going to have to make that pit stop that he probably didn't want to make. Now the question is whether Austin Cobb can make it all the way, and or Cody McElwain. So that's where this race is going to lie in our GT3 field, I believe.
Well, Cobb's got over 30 seconds to the second place run in GT3, and I think he might be able to back it down a little bit in case McElwain can't make it.
Yeah, this is a big track, though, so you can only back it down so much if you hit that timer at the wrong spot and have to do a full, complete lap. It's hard to say, but, yeah, he might be feeling pretty good, though. And you never want to count out some of our drivers, although, you know, last week's winner did have to come in at the same time that our second and third place drivers did. So Joshua Jackson currently running in the 5th position. So that was last week's winners. We're watching another battle here. Jacob Ellingson, like I said, in My Little Pony, with Samuel Agee just behind him there. Samuel Agee running that Mercedes, that purple Mercedes.
Yep, and that is a very unique finish on the Mercedes. I know that I've tried working with paints a lot recently, and he's got that metallic to a point where I have just not been able to figure out how to get that finish. It looks great. Like there's a good contrast with the yellow highlights on it, and you can see it as the sun hits it. There's another GTP coming up behind him. I believe that's Logan Threlkel as Egg tries to get to the back bumper of Ellingson through the hairpin, trying to unsettle him a little bit on exit.
Yeah, they do have that GTP. It looks like Bill Mulfield just behind them now as they head towards the spoon curve here. But you can see My Little Pony staying ahead there. That GTP of Bill Mulfield can't find a way through. And this is the last little section here where things get sketchy. He should be able to get by after this corner on this long straight before they head to 130R.
Yep, put the power down. Take this long straightaway. Just make your way up through there. There's a lot of grass clippings and everything coming up. Mulfield slices and dices his way past the GT3s there.
This is a lesson, folks. Here, you know, what Jacob Ellingson did there was try to let that GTP by, because he didn't want to get held up in the corner. But the problem was the guy behind him of Samuel Agee did the opposite and held his line. So kind of what you want to do is just hold your line, and especially on those long straights, those GTPs are going to get by. So, but that was a close call for that driver.
Yep, just too close for comfort. Eggs looking back to the back through turn 1. Jacob Ellingson making that good braking, rotating around the center of the corner in through the top of the S's.
Well, Ellingson wanted a shout out tonight, but he didn't need a shout out because he's out here having a great race, great battle. These guys are having lots of fun out there. Jacob Ellingson, like I said, running in the 9th position. Samuel Agee would like to have it there in that bass boat painted Mercedes back there. I guess that's the best I can describe it. Some kind of ski boat. He's out there on the water having a great time, I guess. It's got great Mercedes power in that thing, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, the Hammer trying to put as much of that into the race as he can, trying to get to that back bumper of the My Little Mustang. Meanwhile, we got another battle starting to heat up a little bit further up. Joshua Jackson on Trevor McManus.
Joshua Jackson, last week's winner there. You see him there in that green and brown Porsche. Coming up the hill, Trevor McManus in the Mercedes, just like Samuel Agee there in that white and black, or silver and black, I guess it is. That's not a bad looking color scheme either. Actually, both those cars look really nice, but kind of a fan of classic paint schemes, and those cars are more classic than the ski boat type of paint scheme that we see on Agee's car.
And everybody just wants to stand out anymore.
Oh!
A lot of the older cars getting some good sponsors on there. What'd you see, Cam?
Oh, I thought I seen something because there was a very similar car to Agee's car with Ellingson. Oh!
Oh, it was!
Yeah, I think Samuel Agee was able to survive, but somebody that was, I think there was a lap car just ahead of those two guys that didn't survive that. I want to say that was who was that?
It was a
I want to say
31 of
Skylar
Zachary
Taylor.
Minnis.
Was that Minnis?
Yeah, it was a bright purple Porsche that ended up back ending it into the gravel.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Minnis then. Wow, what a tough break for that driver. He's having a great night. There it is right there. You're right. So we're going to go back and take a look at this replay. So we might be a little further back because he was actually with Ellingson and we got a battle between Ellingson right now. A pass is attempted to try to be made. We can go back and look at that. I guess it didn't happen, but going back to
Egg just lost his front bumper.
Yeah, so back to the battle here for the Ellingson position. I believe it's 9th there. So Ellingson's still in 9th. Samuel Agee gets into the back, or something happens to the front end of that car. Now we're going to take a look at this replay here.
Looks like he and Ellingson get through the corner here. Egg makes a move to the inside, pushes it, latches onto the back bumper. I think Jake might have braked for the corner up ahead. Yeah, he did, and Egg just loses his bumper clean.
Now Ellingson just went off the course there in the hairpin while we're looking at this replay. So all this action is changing things up there. So Ellingson now having issues, and Minnis is back by. So Ellingson drove it off into the dirt there, and after that little incident there with Agee, these two drivers are separated now, or Minnis is in front, I should say. Agee is up to 9th, and Ellingson's back in 12th. Wow, I had to wait for him. Had to wait for my scoring to catch up to all that action.
Oh, yeah. Egg's got a severe aero disadvantage. Minnis is catching up. Eddie Smith is tracking down the Mercedes ahead. And while we're on him, I think I'd like to talk a little bit about Goat Talk.
Well, why don't you?
Goat Talk Live is a weekly podcast and live show hosted by Eddie Smith and Patrick Drabick. It is a production of ATYL Media, Above the Yellow Line, which focuses on league motorsports and veteran and first responder community stories, weeknights on Thursdays on ATYL Media.
Yeah, check it out, guys. It's kind of neat. You can see what's going on around the community and what's going on around the league. Every week they try to put that on, so always a lot of fun to watch. And of course, be here every night on V-Speed for all Goat Locker racing, all things live here at Goat Locker. So a lot of racing going on this season. We got 11 series in this league right now, which keeps growing. I just watched a bunch of drivers here within the past 24 hours. It seemed like about 30 drivers joined the league.
Yeah, very heavy influx of people. Everybody just wanting to get into the community and get back on track with everybody else as we're taking a look at this battle with Zachary Minnis on Eddie Smith once again.
Yeah, not much. He sends it.
Oh,
so
no.
Minnis sends it in there. He thought it was his best chance, but Eddie able to hang on as they bang doors. They got the leader, Terry Crouch, back in the GTP coming up on him. But Zachary Minnis, he's trying to do his best to get behind that T-Rex car. So Minnis back there in that purple Porsche there, couldn't quite get it done there, but valiant effort there. He'll try it again. It looks like the GTP of our leader of Terry Crouch is going to be able to clear these two guys before they get to 130R, so I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. No, I think maybe Eddie might beat him to the corner. We'll have to see. No, it looks like Crouch is going to beat him to the corner, so that battle will continue unabated.
Yep, Crouch takes it. Eddie Smith holding that position over Zachary Minnis. Samuel Egg just behind, missing the bumper. He does have a black flag now and is going to have to go in and get that vehicle repaired.
So Terry Crouch still out front in the GTP, so pretty dominant race from him tonight. Looking at the gap between him and Brandon McDonald. Brandon McDonald almost 9 seconds back there right now. But this is about the best battle on the track right now with Minnis and Eddie Smith right now.
Yep, you made an offhand comment. Brandon McDonald 8 seconds back. That's about half the distance he was after everybody made their pit stops. Terry Crouch was off to a 15-second lead. So McDonald slowly but surely is catching him. I can only imagine Terry's trying to run this out with only 2 stops.
Yeah, I think Maybe we missed it, but I'm not sure if Terry didn't. We missed it last week. Terry made an additional stop. We didn't catch it. And I'm wondering if that happened again here tonight because that guy has just been a speed demon out. Pretty dominant right now. And maybe Brendan McDonald will still have to make his pit stop. I don't know. The big question is he's still got quite a gap. We're going to watch it. Terry Crouch is opening it up just a little bit now, up to 9 seconds. But this battle between Menace and Eddie Smith is continuing on. He got the second place GTP car coming up behind him there. That's Brendan McDonald that we were just talking about.
Yep, and the longer these guys stay in front of McDonald's off track, trying to get past these two. I can imagine he is not happy with that. If he has been making up ground on Terry Crouch, it is gone as the gap is getting up towards 11 seconds now.
Well, I can tell you that's the second time I've seen him do that tonight. I think he needs a new sponsor on that car, John Deere. John Deere, we can cut your grass shorter than anybody. Nice and clean. Get that nice golf course green out there. And with that, our leader, Terry Crouch, had a little bit of problem there, and Casio curved there. The rear end stepped out just a little bit. He was able to save that car, but a lot of these GTP cars have been having problems with that last chicane headed to the front stretch.
Yep, keeps it straight. Still a 10-second gap, and he had a missed opportunity there. So he just changed it from Gulf to golf for Brendan McDonald.
Now we're looking at Jeremy Gardner right now. Got Joshua Jackson just ahead of him. Jeremy Gardner looks like he's trying to make up some positions. Jeremy Gardner running in fifth. That's where he was last time we were talking about him. But he's looking at that fourth place position of Joshua Jackson right now, last week's winner, as they head into the hairpin here.
Gardner is pedal to the metal. He is the first of two cars in the GT3 class to make their second pit stop. Jeremy Gardner has a black flag. I can imagine it was for either inciting contact or track limits. So he is going to have to pull it down pit road.
Wow, this is, oh no, that black flag has been cleared by our race officials. So Gardner is able to stay out there. So Gardner will not have to pit. But I also want to talk about Trevor McManus. He's back there currently running in the 6th position. He's watching these two guys battle. So this is a 3-car battle here for the 4th position.
Breaking news, Cody McElwain has made his second stop. He's pulled out just in front of Derek Tierums. He's 11 seconds back on Austin Cobb. 2 minutes and change left in this race. I think Austin Cobb's going to try and run it dry.
Well, while you were talking about that, we just watched McManus. He's going by. He wants that 4th position here in the GT3 field right now, working on Joshua Jackson here through 1 and 2. So you've seen him get indoor, basically, Jeremy Gardner there. Jeremy Gardner runs it off track. Now Jeremy Gardner's coming back. This is getting crazy here. I think Jeremy Gardner's feeling a little bit of heat under the collar right now, and he is going no holds barred at the moment.
Wisely backs it off a little bit, now side by side with Joshua Jackson as they get further up into the S's. Jackson gets a little wide onto the curb. Gardner sweeps his way through, trying to catch up to the back of the Mercedes.
Yeah, and Gardner, I can tell you right now, he's driving like a madman right now. He wants to the back. He wants to get back to McManus because he had that incident in Casio Curve as they head up towards Spoon here. He's going to want that position back, and I don't know exactly how that contact transpired there, but I think maybe Gardner feels a little bit wrong there as they go through the hairpin here. We'll see how aggressive he is as they're coming up on a lap car there. It looks like John Hochin, excuse me.
Yep, Trevor McManus still in the lead of this group. This is for the 4th position. Derek Tierums trying to track down Cody McElwain. Austin Cobb, your leader in the GT3.
So yeah, we're watching a great battle here. This is the way we like to see these things finish here. Right now, I can tell you when the leader crosses the line, should be taking the white flag. I believe we did end up going 1 extra lap, and that's probably what burned McElwain. We'll see if Cobb can make it, but this is a great battle here. Gardner all over the back there, going through 130R, headed to Casio Curve, and this is where they had the incident last lap. And you can see Gardner is just driving the tires off that Mustang. And just behind him, Terry Crouch in the GTPs coming up. So I think Terry Crouch will be taking the white flag. He's down on the inside there. You see him in that yellow GTP. So white flag lap out for a dominant, this is the glove station white flag lap. So that's what these guys are going to be dealing with. And as long as Terry Crouch gets around them, they won't have to do an additional lap.
Yep, Gardner pushing to try and get to the back of McManus here, trying to get that position before he has to relent to Crouch. Both of these guys wanting to keep it going. Joshua Jackson gives that position up to Crouch, and we got our leaders further up, still fighting. Derek Tierham's on the back of Cody McElwain.
Yeah, this is another great battle, and I'm really concerned right now, Austin Cobb, because I believe he's going to have to do an extra lap. I'm looking at Austin Cobb. He's headed up towards 130R. Austin Cobb, our leader of the GT3 field, he's going to have to do an extra lap. So, you know, if Terry Crouch gets around the other GT3 cars, that'll end the race for them. But that's not going to be true for Cobb. Cobb's going to have to do another lap, and the question is whether he's going to be able to make it.
McElwain is the only one of those three that has taken their second stop. 11.5 seconds gap from McElwain to Austin Cobb. Cody McElwain having to fight off Derek Tierhams. This isn't going to help. Austin Cobb does take the white flag this time. He's got another lap to make it around.
Wow, this is pretty exciting right here. I believe right now we're looking at the second place battle here. Cody McElwain and Derek Tierhams. They just taken the white flag too, so they have to do another lap. So that's another driver. Derek Tierhams is going to have to do that extra lap right now. Looking back at Terry Crouch here. Terry Crouch pretty much dominant all fashion, going through Casio Curve for the last time. Terry Crouch is going to win to basically sweep Japan. He's going to take the checkered flag here tonight at the Sports Car Series here at Goat Locker Racing.
Terry Crouch with another dominant win. Back-to-back weeks. Meanwhile, Austin Cobb, your GT3 leader, making his way through turn 9 over toward the hairpin under the bridge. Still trying to hold on to this. Did he save enough during that stint in which McElwain made his second stop? He was able to undercut him a little bit, but Cody McElwain has the fuel to make it to the end. Does Cobb still have it in him?
And maybe Tierhams, too, is in the same boat as Cobb, so both those guys went on a single stop. Cody McElwain on a two-stop race right now. So like you said, we know McElwain can make it. They go through Spoon here. We're watching Cobb here, see if he can finish this thing off and get the first win of the season done here in that Corvette.
Austin Cobb making his way down the backstretch all the way through 130R this time. For the final time, Austin Cobb backs it down, taking a little bit of curb through there. In through the entry of the Casio Triangle, turn 16, and he's going to make his way through turn 17 and 18, and he's got enough fuel in it to make it to the stripe. Austin Cobb with a free drag race ahead of him. Mark one up on the strategy column for the Chevrolet Corvette. Austin Cobb wins at Suzuka.
Wow, that was an exciting race. We still got McElwain and Derek Tierhams. They ended on the last lap, so like I said, the GTPs were able to pass them, but what a great race. Terry Crouch and Austin Cobb both getting those wins here tonight. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be exciting to talk to our race winners tonight there, Jacob. But in the meantime, we're going to throw it to a commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll go over your unofficial results, and we'll talk to our winners.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
We are back live at Suzuka. What a race, folks. That was one of the better races I've seen in a long time. We had action all over the field, but let's go over your unofficial results for tonight. Terry Crouch does it again for his second win of the season. Just 2 races in, 2 wins. Pretty in dominant fashion again. Brandon McDonald tries to chase him down, just 9 seconds back, almost 10, but finishes in second. Brian Provo with the strong finish there in third. That's your top 3 drivers in GTP. Logan Threlkeld finishes 4th where he started. Bill Mofield finishes 5th. And then Jamie Lipke wraps out your 6 cars. And then I believe there was one other car out there, Tyler Justice. Yeah, he ends up finishing back in that last position for the GTPs with an incident early on in this race back there in 7th.
And for your GT3s, an excellent battle between our top 3. Austin Cobb taking the win on the strategy call. Derek Tierums ends up coming back second after a mishap by McElwain through 130R, puts him in third. Trevor McManus, Jeremy Gardner round out your top 5 with solid battles on their end. Joshua Jackson in 6th, Samuel Joseph 7th, Timothy Parker, Wesley Burke, and Eddie Smith rounding out your top 10. Zachary Menace, Timothy Wilms, Warren Clayton, Corinne Smith, Chance Taylor, your top 15, Tyler White, John Houchin, Alexander Sexauer, Samuel Egg after that late contact, and Jacob Ellingson round out the top 20. Skylar Daly, Isaac Ortiz, DJ Patterson, Bobby Germain, and Ashton Acero Nolan all having some mishaps at some point in this race. Fill out your 25-car GT3 field.
Well, like I said, that was pretty exciting. Why don't we talk to one of our race winners here there, Jacob? I'm going to grab Terry Crouch, and that's our GTP winner. Terry Crouch, this is Ken Huber and Jacob Lemke in the booth. Do you got a copy?
I do. How you boys doing?
Doing pretty good. It can't be doing better than you, though. 2 weeks in a row here in Japan. Tell us about your race tonight.
Yeah, I knew Brendan was going to be fast. I had raced him once in the preseason, so it was just focus as much as I could in qual and try and lay down some laps to build a gap. And after that, he started catching up on the lap times. He figured something out. So I decided to not change the tires, short pit, and just split the fuel in half to keep the car as light as I could. And I knew I'd be losing some time in the end, but in the end, it worked out, so I can't really ask for more.
Well, that explains it. Just like last week, we missed your second pit stop, but kind of figured you'd made that stop somewhere in there when we seen that distance close up between you and Brendan McDonald. Next week, we head to Europe, I believe it is. So what do you have for next week?
I hope the same thing. No, it's kind of a track that you kind of follow the leader a lot, and there's a lot of spots to, get stuck behind guys. So it's probably going to be coming down to a lot of traffic and having a setup that can handle some of those curbs, and hope you come out clean.
Well, who do you have to thank to get this dominant win here tonight?
As always, it's Lincoln Tech, Save 22, MK Fire Design, and Zach Graphics for the series itself. Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, InVets above the yellow line. Goat Locker for putting on some amazing racing, and the coordination they do on all these leagues is amazing. And you guys and all my guys out there that were on the track, that was a blast.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you, and we'll see what you can do next week. I'm sure it's going to be at least an exciting race. You probably have another great finish next week, but see you then.
I hope so. I better say goodbye or thanks to the wife, the kids, the grandkids. I was about to get in trouble there.
All right. Well, that was Terry Crouch, folks, our race winner for the GTPs, and I think Jacob Lemke will be standing by with one of our GT3 drivers.
Yes, indeed. I've got our winner from the GT3 field, Adam Cooper, or Austin Cobb. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right. I can't imagine we're doing much better than you right now. You got the better of your competitors today. Take us through that strategy call.
Well, it was very seat of the pants. I was pushing very hard. I was kind of a little upset that I messed up my final qualifying lap. So I knew that Mustang that the leader had. Oh my gosh, that thing is a missile in a straight line. So it'd just be very difficult to overtake. So I was pushing very hard. Had Derek, my teammate, behind me, and about 5 laps into the race, we realized that when we go in to fuel up, we're capped at 50% of the tank, which I wasn't anticipating, but you guys probably saw me back off pretty heavily around that point because we realized that we needed to fuel save a lot to get to the end on one stop. So that was a strategy from there, and some very close calls with some traffic. Had some contact here and there, but got through unscathed, thankfully. But yes, very happy. Learned my lesson from last week where I had to pit on the final lap. So yeah, glad it worked out this time. It was a fun race, very intense. It's always good to battle top guys.
Yep, you three put on another barn burner for us up here in the booth and for our crowd. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the top step?
Well, first of all, Lincoln Tech, Save 22, MK Fire Design and ZAT Graphics, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Iron Vets, and ATYL. Those guys are awesome. They help support this awesome league and enable us to have some camaraderie and some very good racing. And I'd also like to thank my better half for putting up with all the noise that I'm making in this room all of the time. So, yeah, huge shout out to all of them.
Well, like a few others in this league, you can go back and tell her you won tonight, so that may get you a pat on the back.
You read
Congratulations
my
on the
mind.
win. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you at Imola.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Jacob. I am going to bring our top two in for GTPs. I know we said we were going to do something a little bit different this week. We'll just do the top two for each series. How about that? Brandon McDonald, Ken Huber here in the booth with Jake Lemke. You got a copy.
I got you, Ken.
Holy cow, that was a great race you guys put on here tonight. I know, you started off the race and the leader kind of stepped away from you guys, but you had a great race back there with Brian Provo, at least in the first half of it. Talk to us about how that race went for you.
Yeah, it was great. When you're racing against an alien like Terry, there's not much you can do. Was a great race overall. Had a really good time. Figured out how to drive the car halfway through, so that goes a long way with figuring out what I'm doing. Went a little longer on the second pit stop. Got closer to Terry, so that's a win. But no, it was a good race. A lot of fun.
Well, it was exciting to watch. What do you have for Imola next week?
Hopes and prayers. We'll see what happens.
A good old home track for Ferrari out there. So we'll see how these GTPs handle through there. Traffic's got to be a little bit more complex going through that track in Italy.
It will be. For the most part, the GT3 drivers are safe and consistent, and that's all that matters, really. I mean, there's such a speed difference that as long as they're safe and predictable, that's really all you can ask. And I thought they did a good job of that tonight.
Well, who do you have to thank to get you on the podium here tonight in that second place finish?
For sure. Got to thank Jam Printing and Promotions. Got to thank V-Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruising Classics, GTR Simulators, and of course, MK Fire Designs and ZAT Graphics.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Have a good week.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas.
Well, that was Brandon McDonald, our second place in GTPs.
All right, and now that we've reached that, we're going to take a look and talk to our second place finisher in the GT3 is Derek Tierums. Okay, this is Jacob Linke in the booth. You got me?
Yep, I got you.
What a run you three put up on the front there. You, Cobb, and McElwain, for a majority of that first half, were separated by a total of 2 seconds, a second each. The only time the gap really stretched out or closed any was when the GTPs were coming through. Take us through that.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, we were pretty neck and neck for most of the first stint, and then quickly realized that fuel was going to be an issue, and that if we kept pushing, we were going to have to make that second pit stop. So A combination of the traffic, but mostly just having to back off to save fuel was the main reason behind that.
Yep, and you kept McElwain honest after he made that second stop. We saw you within half a second for a majority of that back half of the stint through the last 20 minutes. You made that pass to the inside when McElwain made the misstep toward the end of the lap and got it done into the second position. Who do you have to thank for putting you on the podium?
Yeah, I just want to give a big shout out to Jam Printing and Promotions. I'm sorry, MK Fire Design and ZAT Graphics, V Speed, Alexander PCs, Cruisin' Classics, and GTR Simulators.
Another awesome run. We know you can do it here in the GT3 series. Have a good week. We'll see you at Imola.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, Jacob, that was a pretty exciting race here in Japan to wrap up our Asia tour here over the past couple of weeks. I couldn't ask for a better race.
It breaks my heart that we have to leave Japan for this next leg, but the European leg is going to be lights out, as I'm sure everybody's expecting.
Yeah, looking to go to Italy next week. It's a little bit tighter track than what we had here. Still pretty technical, not quite as much, but the action will be live. You're looking at the schedule right now of our championship contenders, but we got two separate race winners in the GT3 series, and then of course we got Terry Crutch is just dominating GTPs right now. But I don't know, maybe somebody can show up and ring his bell one of these days.
Yep, only time will tell, Ken.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I want to thank everybody here on V-Speed and Goat Locker Racing for being here with us tonight for this exciting racing. This race has been brought to you by MK Fire Design and Zach Graphics. I'm Ken Huber. I've had Jacob Lenke alongside me with Bobby Bender doing production, and then Dougie Beard on cameras. And on behalf of everybody here,